Hi, everyone. I wanted to address the mass shootings that have taken place in our country recently. So this week's message goes a bit beyond a 1-minute video. There are a few things I want to call to attention. First of all, when it comes to mass shootings, gun laws are not the problem. Therefore, they're not the solution. Recently, the government has been focusing on mental health, which is a step in the right direction, but the core problem facing our country today is a mass turning away from God and from prayer. Our nation was founded on a Christian faith, with God at the center of that foundation. Since then, we've been pushing God to the outskirts, out of our schools and out of our government. God has been confined to within the four walls of churches, and that seems to be as far as we are letting him go. As a country, we are struggling, because as a country, we have turned away from God. I'm calling for a mass turnaround, back to God and back to prayer. The power of prayer is profound. It's real and it works. I know some of you are saying, no, it doesn't. I prayed for this and that happened. I prayed for that and nothing happened at all. The answer I have towards that is that God does answer prayer, but sometimes the answer is no, or wait. God's timing is a mystery, and sometimes it is downright frustrating. I heard a homily recently that reminded us that we have two duties in this life, and those are to pray and to love. Love is another topic I wanted to touch on. After a mass shooting, we hear talk of gun laws and the sorrow of the families of the victims. But does anyone talk about forgiving the shooters? Maybe not so much. You may hear it in a passing comment, but it's not really a focal point. God calls us to love thy neighbor as thyself, but also to love thine enemies. I understand this is a tough one, asking us to love that person who cheated us in business, that person who lied about you to your friends, or who got behind the wheel of a car while intoxicated, or that person who deliberately murdered your child. It's asking a lot. Loving our enemies may seem impossible, but we can do all things through God who strengthens us. And something being hard to do was never a good reason to not do it. If you have turned away from God and from prayer, it is never too late to turn back. If you grew up in a church but have left for whatever reason, examine that reason. Is it still there? Can you work through that hurt or that wrong you were dealt and walk back through those doors? If the answer is a great big no, maybe the solution is to find a different church. If you still can't quite get there, try listening to a Christian radio station. Find a YouTube channel. There is no shortage of sermons and even Christian movies here on YouTube. Maybe start there. Start somewhere. Start anywhere. Just start. There is no hurt that can't be healed through the power of prayer, the power of love, the power of forgiveness, and the power of God, whom we seem to have thoroughly shoved out of every aspect of our lives except for Sunday mornings. But he is still there, waiting in the wings, calling us back to him. Maybe you're thinking, oh, it's too late. I've been away from God for too long. I've done too much to be forgiven for. I've never known God. He doesn't care about me. No, 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 and no. There is no limit to God's love for you. There is no time limit. There is no distance limit. God is limitless. As a nation, I'm asking us to pull together and tap into that. The power of prayer is profound. It's real and it works. Our two duties in this life are to pray and to love. Try it, and you'll be amazed by what happens next. Thanks for listening.